and welcome to Like It Really Is. I am your host, Maurice Thompson, and today we're going to be talking about a few topics. We're going to talk about Biz Markie. We're going to be talking about our the transit people really nice, our MTA workers really nice, bus operators and train operators. Also, we're going to be talking about some other issues. So hang in there, hang with us. This is Like It Really Is. All right. Welcome, everybody, and I hope everybody had a great weekend. Welcome to Monday. This is the day we get started. Things start to happen, and we get focused on things that we got to do. Yes, today is definitely Monday. Oh man, there's so many things going on. A lot of things going on in the world today. Okay, so I just want to let everybody know about what's going on with our page, um, and how you can be a part of what we're doing. You have to go to YouTube and punch in Like It Really Is. No capital letters or anything like that. Just punch in Like It Really Is. And just subscribe and hit that bell. And, you'll be able to, see all this stuff as soon as it comes up. We'll be in the algorithm. So we really need your support on that note to help us in that aspect of trying to get this word out, trying to do some positive things and communicate about positive things. Um, yeah, definitely. So the platforms is Like It Really Is. You can go to that platform. Also, you can go to the platform uh, Xavier Maurice. You can go there. Xavier Maurice. That's the youth program that I have. You can go there if you want to check out the kids, the dancing, and all that stuff. We're going to revamp all that stuff there. So there's a lot of work that has to be done when it comes down to a lot of the projects that we're doing. So we appreciate you guys for just being the support and being here. Definitely needed and very gracious. If you would just, like I said, subscribe to our page and help us in our endeavors in trying to get this word out. We want to talk, real. We want to tell people like it really is. Also, you can check us out on Instagram at savir.org. That's Instagram at savir.org. Um, and we'll definitely be on that too. Um, yeah, so as we work towards getting perfected, we always seem to have always some technical difficulties, so just bear with me. Um, Really don't know why my background is blinking like that, but you know, we got to fix that. But anyway, we keep it really professional. We'll deal with that as it comes. Um, the first thing I'd like to talk about is, you know, the MTA bus drivers, the train uh, conductors, and you know, people like that that work on the public transportation. Now, one thing that I want to do is I want to just say in the first beginning of everything is that I praise the MTA transit and anybody else that is a part of any kind of bus or transit. You know, they have stuck it in there for us through the pandemic. You know, anytime there's any kind of, you know, you know, storm or something happens, like this pandemic that went on, you know, the MTA is always there. And a lot of people, you know, don't realize the importance of, you know, of their job and what they do. You know, I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to blank out for a second because this background's kind of getting on my nerves. I don't like it to be messed up. So just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to blank out, but you'll hear me talking. So as I said before, um, you know, I have to give the MTA their praises and their flowers because they go above and beyond when it comes down to working with the community and like, I mean, they get paid for it. But I mean, I've seen a lot of situations with MTA workers. Like one time, there was an MTA worker that stuck her head out the window. You know how they look to see to make sure everybody's in the train. Well, this lady, I think she stuck her head out and her head got cut off, which was really a terrible situation. So you know, when I say, you know, we have a lot of love for our transit and our MTA bus, you know, bus drivers. Um, I want to make that totally clear that there's a love there for people that do things for other people, even if you get paid for it. You know, you're sticking your head out, you're doing something, you know, that helps out the world, and it's a blessing. Okay, so now there's a flip side to that, and let me come back. Okay, so there's a flip side to that, and let me just say that in every situation, in all scenarios, there's always a flip side to, you know, situations. Just give me a second here. There's always a flip side to situations, and you know, as unfortunate as it is, you know, we have to deal with these kinds of situations. Um, so let me just say this. Matter of fact, let me play this video, and you guys can just check out what I'm going to share my screen with you guys. I don't know if I'm going to get a strike for this or whatever the case may be, but I feel like it's necessary to actually show you guys you know, what I'm actually talking about. Give me 2 seconds. Um, and again, I'm not, you know, singling out anybody. This is just something that came up that I'm hearing about, and that it's just, you know, really disturbing. I want you guys to put your input in on it and tell me, am I seeing what I'm seeing here? So let me put this on here. Let me share my screen to you guys. All right, I'm starting to get the hang of this thing now. You know, a little bit, just a little bit. Uh, so you have to bear with me. And I'm gonna share this with you with the hopes that I don't get struck for it. But you know, it's always a possibility, and I might have to take it off. So in that case, um, I'll have to just, you know, work it out. All right, so I'm gonna run it. Okay.
After a video shows him in a violent confrontation with an alleged fare beater, some of the driver's co-workers are defending his actions, but not all. CBS 2's Dave Carlin reports from Jamaica, Queens.
If these probably was having a bad day. You better not have this bad a day when you're a city bus driver and a rider is capturing it on video.
I've been here 25 years. I don't care.
It was Tuesday. Here you see the Q112 driver say no way to a 16-year-old who allegedly tried to beat the fare and get a free ride. The driver and the teen trade insults loaded with F-bombs. Then the teen tries to flee, and the bus driver overpowers him.
I was just in total shock at what was happening. I was like, I gotta call the cops.
The woman whose voice you just heard talked to us about her video, saying the driver pushed the boy off the bus.
The bus driver had the kid in the chokehold.
But some say the boy was wrong, stubborn and belligerent.
The bus driver told him, like, get out of the bus. Supposed to get out of the bus. The bus driver got it right.
Witnesses say when the teenager came off the bus, it didn't end there, that he grabbed this trash can and threw it at the bus and was arrested. The driver is not charged with a crime, but the MTA says all drivers must avoid these types of altercations. Transit Workers Local 100 released this statement. This driver has 25 years of service. He's a military veteran working on Veterans Day, and now he's facing termination. We intend to vigorously defend his livelihood. Some of his colleagues say he took this way too far.
It's wrong. We don't beat people. We bus drivers. We're supposed to drive people, not beat them.
She says fare beaters often get their free rides because something like this just isn't worth it. In Jamaica, Queens, Dave Carlin, CBS 2 News.
Okay. All right, so there you go. There you have it. I mean, you just saw that. You saw the situation. And, you know, to me personally, I think that we go a little bit too far when it comes down to some of the things that we do, and we leave ourselves open for the situations to happen. Now, that situation could have definitely turned bad, you know, and I don't think that a lot of people are aware of some of the things that they do. Now, yeah, you know, one thing that you have to understand is that when you're living in a city and you have multiple things to do and you have to go, say you have 3 places to go. A lot of times it's bad enough that it takes you maybe 3 hours to get to all 3 destinations at one time, you know. That's not to mention how much you have to pay, you know, daily for stuff like that. It could run very expensive in the city, you know. And again, I'm playing devil's advocate here because, you know, it's like we have to look at things. Sometimes we have to look at things a little bit differently. Look at the other side and look at how other people might feel about certain situations or what they may be going through, you know, because there's a lot of people that's going through a lot of stuff, and you know, we just need to be a little bit more conscious of that. I have allergies, yo, so just excuse me if you keep seeing me touching my face. Again, like I said, you know, this is something that's really a problem in our community, and it's causing, you know, people to get into situations and lose their life, and you know, people are throwing feces on these bus drivers, you know. And I just think personally, you know, it just isn't the right thing to do, you know. I went to White Plains. I mean, not White Plains. I went to New Jersey over the weekend, and you know, I got on the train, and I think I had my I was paying my fare, and I was short a little bit of money. I didn't have any change you know. So the being that I didn't have all of the money, which was my mistake, you know, this uh, a conductor, train personnel felt the need to try to disrespect me or try to use that, you know, being that I needed to get the ride and take the time to actually, I guess, ridicule me, scold me, you know, put me through this and that, you know, which is, you know, really, I don't. And then when I was leaving the train, it seemed like he was looking like he really wanted to, to continue, like he wanted some more, you know, he wanted to say more, and I'm looking at him like, wow, this guy really, you know, this is after I'm actually getting off the train and, you know, actually he let me go through. Um, so when I went up to him, he says, you know, he says, this is a one time and you're not going to do this again. And, you know, he has a little white beard, you know, redneck, you know, so it seemed like his energy was coming from a different place. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, we react on stuff like that, and we got to stop reacting on stuff like that because, you know, that emotional bell, when we hit that emotional button, that's always a problem, you know, becoming emotional. And, you know, we really got to stop, you know, getting emotional about this and that, you know, it's definitely not cool at all. Um, yeah, so definitely, you know, if anybody wants to, you know, every Monday we'll be on at 12 o'clock. Today, again, we was a little slow today, so 12:30 we did it, you know, but we're working on it. It's a process. We'll get there. Um, yeah. So again, this is just like I said, you know, I think, you know, one thing that's a problem is that with our people is that when we get to a certain level, everybody seems to look down on other people, and that's a problem. You know, we get to a certain level, and you know, we have this mentality like, I'm better. You know, I got me a job. I'm doing this, and that. You know, I'm living my best life, and you know, you don't have no regard for the person that is struggling and stuff like that. I think that, you know, we have to, you know, get out of that mindset, and I think this COVID showed and proved to us that it can happen to anybody. It can happen to anybody, friends. I'm telling you, it can happen to anybody. So don't think that your job is that secure, that, you know what I'm saying, that you feel like you could just talk to people any way you want. You know, you know, it's just not like that. You know, we need to be a little bit more. Um, I guess we really got to look at the reality of stuff. You know, it's like sometimes I feel like my own people treat me bad. You know, treat me worse than any other people. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, they're that bad, but it's certain things that we shouldn't have, you know, have to deal with when it comes down to, you know, our people. You know, and that's one of the reasons why we can't get nowhere is because we don't have that unity. We don't have that togetherness. And I don't know whether it goes back into the days of when we used to be in Africa, and you know, because we've been fighting against each other for many years. Okay, this is not something that just started. You know, this is something that's been going on for many years back in Africa. I know you remember the Zulu Nation. I think it was a Zulu tribe, or you know, against this tribe, and fighting for what? You know, you know. And I'm not sure if I'm using the right term as far as us. You know, always it's always us doing it to our own people. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm feeling. So I hope that in life, I hope things change, and we look to be a little bit more different, and try to strive to be better with each other. Because how are we going to build a Black Wall Street and we don't have that unity? How are we going to build a Black Wall Street and come together when we going against each other all the time? Come on, man. We got to wake up. We got to get focused. You know, I don't know what is needed, for, people to actually to get it. But people really need to get it. You know, because we're losing, and they'll give us, and this is an important time because we're in a place where our businesses can grow. We can start a business now. We can be successful. There's money out there, there's grants out there, there's free money. People have seen our struggle. If there's something that you believe in, I think now is the time to invest in and try to, market yourself. This is like another chance. So going back to us as a people, we need to come together and stop treating each other a certain way. Yeah, I understand, if they see you on the job and if they see somebody go past, you're going to get in trouble. People say that to me all the time. Oh, if you go past and they see it, I don't know whether that's true or not, but I just don't think that it warrants to you getting involved like that, and just getting involved. Fighting for what? Like, what are you fighting for? You fighting for that 275 from that kid? And the other thing is that's a kid. These kids nowadays, they're disrespectful. We already know that. So why engage? And that goes for everything else in life. Like, a lot of people right now, they're getting involved in stuff and getting themselves in situations because we engage. We want to engage in everything. Engage because that person says this, or engage because that person says that. And we got to stop engaging. It's that emotional button that we keep pressing. And I think that is important that we stop pressing that emotional button. Somebody told me, respond, don't react. And I think that's an important thing to do, is to respond, not to react. Some people have angers that stem from when they were a child. Some people have angers that stem from when they were in prison. So you don't know what people are going through, what kind of situation that a person is dealing with. So the best thing for you to do is to just don't say nothing, walk away, let it go. And in this time right now, it's imperative to do that. Because if you open up your mouth and you say the wrong thing, now this person is gonna flip more, then it's gonna turn into something else, and then you never know. The words that come out of your mouth is important, because you may say something that affects that person, and they may pull out a knife and stab you right there. We have to stay focused on the things that come out of our mouth. We have to stay focused on how we carry ourselves, and as far as that young kid is concerned, here's my feeling with him. Again, this, if you if you don't have the money, just go to the person and say, listen, I don't have the money, you know, or just go get yourself a bunch of pennies, or whatever change you have. Keep a jar of change, right, that you can throw into just give them something. You don't have to. I mean, if you don't give them 275 and you give them 75 cents, just say, listen, that's all I got. Keep it 100, because a lot of times, we lie and it's not really necessary. So that's important. To be focused on that. And stay in the right perspective when it comes down to this decisions that we make. Once again, people, my nose has a major itch. So I am going through it right now. I'm going through it. It keeps itching, and I keep going through it right now in my nose. I think that's what happens when you pull a hair out, and then it just, yeah. Anyway, like it really is. We got to tell it like it is, because this is just, there's just a lot of stuff that we need to, as a community, work on, and a lot of stuff that we have to stay focused on. And yeah, right. So if there's anybody that has any comments about, what you think about how, the MTA workers treat you, please feel free to put it in the comments below. And whether it's over there or there, just put it in the comments, and I'll definitely revisit this again, and maybe we can get an MTA worker up here and really find out what the situation is, and why are we having this kind of a problem, because this is just, like I said, an example of where we're having a problem, where the great divide is. Like, we have no compassion about the next man. Yes, these companies are making billions and billions and billions of dollars. It's not like, Fred the Godson owns, may he rest in peace, or Jay-Z owns the bus company. That's a state. I don't know if it's a state-run organization or it's a federal-run organization, but and I'm not saying that they don't deserve their money, because they do deserve their money. I have friends that work for the MTA. Again, these are things that people come to me and they ask me this question, and today I felt like I would talk about it, because we want to break down the issues and the problems that we really have in our community, because if we don't get to the core of the problem, people, we're not going to be able to fix the problem. You know what I mean? We can keep looking at it and playing with it, and no, it's not gonna work. It's not going down like that. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a good day. I just drank all my coffee. Beautiful day today. It's been rain. The rain has been messing us up not all weekend, but just it's been a little bit of rain here and there. All right, let's make a move on to the next topic, because I think, like I said, we've talked enough about it. I hope everybody, we're on the same page, when it comes down to MTAs. And I just want to say to you guys, the MTA workers, I have nothing against you guys at all. It's not like this is every MTA worker that's nasty, mean. Is those select few that has that nasty attitude. And sometimes, a lot of times, you're at home and you're going through stress, and your wife may be cheating, or your husband's cheating, and then you're just angry because of the things that you're going through. See, money can't buy you happiness. Money cannot buy you happiness. And so a lot of people think that, yeah, I got the great job, I got, I got a pension, I got a 401k, but the thing is that are you happy? You know, yeah, money definitely can't buy you happiness. So, oh my God, you ever had that itch that just keeps on itching, like just take it all off? All right, all right. So let's keep going here. I was talking about the MTA people and the issues, and being understanding, and being compassionate, and not bringing, that's what it was, not bringing the problems that you have at home to the job. Come on, people, stop doing that. You come to you're angry at home, you have problems at home, and then you come to the work and then you have this attitude. That's because you haven't dealt with the problems at home. You haven't dealt with the problems at home, and until you deal with the problems at home, is the only way you're going to be able to come to work with a better attitude. You got to fix the problems at home. That's why when COVID came out, everybody started going crazy. Nobody, people were breaking up with each other, and it was a whole bunch of situations going on, and it was just it was crazy. It was crazy. So, like I said, we have to stop, looking down at people. I mean, people are throwing piss bottles at MTA workers. Let me see if I can get somebody on the line here, somebody that knows about these kind of things. Someone that can attest to, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not wrong, maybe maybe there's another side to the situation where these MTA workers are the victim instead of you know instead of the the uh the attacker. So I'm gonna bring somebody in, what I'm saying, and we're gonna see how they feel about the situation. And once again, I'm going to give this young lady a special introduction, right? A special introduction, because she is a special individual, and special to me. Uh, she is one of the last standing um, inspirations right now in my life right now, standing together with me on this quest. You know what I'm saying? She's probably on back screen blushing right now because I'm gonna say all this beautiful stuff. You know, um, and it's hard, to find, people that are dedicated. You know what I'm saying? Let's bring on the undisputed, the genuine, the soft spoken, the Charmin's. Oh, she's like Charmin's toilet paper, and I don't mean she don't take the shit, but she is just as soft and is and I mean, listen, if I say you soft as Charmin's toilet paper, then you something else. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask everybody before we get in there, we're gonna ask everybody to give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Rhonda.
Hey, how are you? How you doing? Hi, everybody. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Hi, guys. Hi,
Hey,
Maurice.
hey, how you doing? How's everything, love? How's everything?
I'm good.
All right, it's a beautiful Monday today. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here in these streets trying to get it right. Trying to get it right. I had to give you the best introduction that I could. You know what I'm saying? Had to, let the people know that, where's the strength come from? Where's that backbone? You know what I mean? See, every man, right, in their life, right, they need something to keep their back straight. You understand what I'm saying? Right. No, I'll wait. I'll wait. You just get that thing right. When you get that thing right, I'm gonna start talking about. I'm gonna put the work in. You get that thing right over there, cause I don't know. Something forward. We got to get this thing together.
Okay. I'm getting it.
Right.
I'm getting it. What?
All right. So let me put in this work. All right. So every man, right, needs this strength and backbone, right? Something that's gonna lift him and keep him going. You understand what I'm saying? Keep his chest up. Make him be able to bounce on it. Beat on his chest. There's not a lot of people that do that. Men can just come out, whoa, just beat on his chest. You
Too much.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm blowing it up. But
Man, I love you. Love you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm hanging in there. I'm in here, taking care of that business, making things happen.
Okay.
Now I don't know if you heard me talking. I was talking about the MTA workers, and I was having a discussion about how I felt about sometimes they're nice, sometimes they're not nice. Sometimes they bring the stuff that they've been doing the work and they bring it to the job. And I showed a clip earlier of a situation where there was a bus driver that actually kid had I guess he hopped the bus and he refused to pay, and the bus driver grabbed him up and had him up against the poles and pushing him, kind of manhandling him and held him for the police to come.
Wow.
I don't know if he held him, but I think he ran out of the bus and the kid picked up a garbage can and threw it at the bus.
Okay.
So the thing is like, I was saying that, we should really know these kids by now. You know what I'm saying? These kids are, they're not like the kids that from the generation before.
Right. But if you're attacking him, I mean, come on. I mean, they get embarrassed and then they act out. Once they get embarrassed, they're gonna go on. Yeah, once you embarrass them, that's it.
Yeah.
Embarrassment is like the worst. Who wants to be embarrassed? You
Yeah.
know? So, once you embarrass me, I'm really gonna show out. And that's what they do.
Yeah.
But
And
you as an adult,
I mean, that could have turned out really bad though. Like the kid could have had a knife on him and stuck the bus driver. You know what I mean? You just don't. You go to work. You don't go there to fight people.
Right.
And then you fighting for $275. That ain't coming. That ain't going in your pocket.
Right.
But all of a sudden you fighting for this. You wanna uphold the law on this one person, and for $275.
Yes.
And in the beginning of the show, I was saying, you know what? I have to give the MTA their accolades because they have done above and beyond. They've gone above and beyond with the COVID, continuously working. Always keeping the trains running. Giving them their flowers for that automatically. But there needs to be a discussion because this is a part of the problem with our people. We look down on other people. We get a job and
they are
disrespectful. Like we're better than other people.
Very disrespectful.
Yeah.
The attitudes, they come with the attitudes, and you know, customer service. That's what I call it, customer service. If you don't have it, when you are on the job, you have to have it. I don't care. You got to come out of character. No. You have to have it. I don't care what's going on, what your day is like. You have to have it.
Yeah.
Working in retail or anything else, you have to have communication, customer service. I mean, it is what it is. You know, you are dealing with people with different attitudes. You're dealing with people with, you know, whatever's going on in their life. Some are, you know, mental health, whatever. You just have to learn to deal with the situation at hand. You know, like they say, when you get those type of jobs, you have to be a psychiatrist. You have to be a listener. You know, a therapist. Sometimes you just compassion. Be compassionate.
Right.
Simple. Your day will be just that simple. Okay, you are going to get people, no matter what, that are going to go the extra length. You just got to learn how to deal with the situation. Do not make it worse. If you cannot handle it, bring on a supervisor. That's what I was always taught. Bring on a supervisor or somebody else, a mediator. That's it. Cut it short. That's it. Cut it short.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a fact. I mean, you're making that a valid point.
Cut it short.
Because I mean, like I said, people are, we're in a situation where it takes costs a lot of money to travel. Say, like I said before, say if you have 4 appointments that you have to go to, and you have to use mass transit, how long will it take you to go to 4 appointments? A long time, right?
Yes. So you're frustrated.
So that already is a frustration right there, because you cannot get to the appointments fast, just like the average person. You're depending on mass transit to get you to these places. That's frustrating right there. Then, just imagine if you have 4 places, 275 times 4. I mean, you're looking at, just to go to 4 places in a day, you're almost spending what's that? Almost $15. That's just, so I mean, so if you're
customer skills, bottom line.
I'm talking about the money wise. I'm talking about money wise. As far as a person, what we have to go through on a regular basis, paying for fares, $275 here, then you got to get back on the bus, then you got to go to the next one,
right.
We're
spending our money, and
yeah, and like I said, I don't think that I'm not expecting any handouts, or I don't feel like people should get a handout. You know what I mean? I just feel that people should be more compassionate.
Courtesy. My thing is, nowadays, courtesy. Be more courteous. That's all. It does not cost a thing.
Right.
Kindness.
Yeah.
If you're having a bad day, do not make your bad day someone else's bad day.
Right.
Boundaries. Simple.
Nah, that's a fact.
You have to know how to pressure bust pipes.
That's a fact.
Also, when you get on the bus, be polite to the driver. How are you doing today? How's your day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you be nice, and if you don't have the
Strike up a
money,
conversation.
yeah,
Comfortable with your driver. They're
and,
human too.
and I also said if you have a whole bunch of change, you know, there's pennies all over the place, right? You collect all the pennies that you can, you know, put it in a jar. You know, you got to get on the bus. You don't have no money. Just take a little bit of those pennies and that nickels or whatever and throw it in and say, listen, that's all I got.
They say no penny. And that's a thing too. Do you know that they don't like putting pennies in the dispenser? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
want coins, silver dollars, coins. Right.
yeah. Well,
Because,
you know,
right.
for a person that's trying to get a job, they don't have money. You know, there's a lot of people that are, you know, and there's not. I mean, there's not a lot of organizations that actually. I mean, there's some organization that will give you a card to go look for jobs, but you would have to go through the welfare system and you know stuff like that in order to get those kind of metro cards and stuff like that. You know,
Well,
but there's nothing really out there for you know people to actually if you struggle and so you have to survive. People are you know, and then you wind up getting locked up, and it's all because but you know. You know, so this kid here, I don't know whether he had a school pass or he didn't have a school pass or he lost his school pass. Usually, kids that age usually have a school pass. So, again, like I said, if there's anybody out there that feels differently, you know, just you know, say something in the comments. You know, you know, make a comment. We'll revisit this conversation and talk about you know what it is that you feel. You know, we definitely need some people in the chats. We need to get it started. You know, having a little bit of a family kind of relationship with everybody. You know, so you know, if you want to be a part of this family, this like it is family, like it really is family, you know, just come on board. You know, we're gonna get some administrators. We're gonna get a whole team. You know, and we're gonna put this word out. You know, don't you know? It only don't cost you nothing but your time. You know, so I mean, and as we go further into it, you know, we may just ask for a couple of dollars, you know, as far as the on the subscription level, you know, for you know the progression of what we're trying to do. So I everybody that's in my group, right? And I know that you might be listening and you may not be, you know, put up in the chats. Don't hide in the back. Come to the front. So that when we do have these conversations, you know, I have people that are real that's in the chats that know exactly what I'm talking about or have gone through certain things and really need a voice, need to speak on certain things. This is the time for you guys to come aboard. Come aboard and be a part of what I'm doing. And, you know, I remember I put out a video on Facebook about I need my friends' support. Well, this is the part where I need you, right? Because I'm going to have, you know, as I get bigger, I'm going to be dealing with outside entities. And so a lot of times I'd rather have people that I know for a long time to be a part of my administration, be a part of, you know, the team, the crew. You know, we can come together, have a little functions here and there. I can give out prizes, gifts, all that stuff to you guys. You know, I want to give back. And at the same time, I want to show you some accomplishments on this channel, things that I'm going to be doing, popping off, you know, in the future. You know, so definitely need you on that note. Definitely need you on that note. Sorry about that. Whoever that is that's calling me right now, can you call me back? I'm in a meeting right now. Yeah. 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 So the thing is, like I said, you know, so we need your support and we need you to be a part of what we're trying to do. You know, be a part of the family. You know, don't just look on the outside and be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Yo, I need you to come in. come in, go to YouTube, type in Like It Really Is, press the bell, you know, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Go to Savia Maurice, the part where I have the kids. I need you guys to come in, subscribe, ring that bell, be a part of this, because we're going to have discussions on this platform. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be real talk about real things that we're going through, and we really need real people to come in and speak, because there's a lot of platforms where people just be speaking and not doing nothing, and that's not what's going to happen here. Not on this channel, you know.
Right.
And so, I mean, we got Rhonda here. Rhonda is real as it could be, you know. You know, she's been out there in these streets, and I've been out in the streets. You know, I got a lot of stuff that I could bring to the channel. So again, you know, your support is definitely necessary. You know, all right, so let's move on to the next topic. And I don't know if you've seen it in the chat. Did you see what? Yeah, we were talking about that, and then we were supposed to talk about my boy. Now, see, there's a lot of things and this is one of the reasons why, you know, I say that we really got to come together, and the reason is because of this. This is the reason why I'm saying that. Okay, hold on a second. Okay. All right, so let me put this one instead. Okay, so everybody knows this guy, right? Oh, not that side, maybe this side. Right, all right, so this is my boy, Biz Markie. As you know, he passed away.
Yes.
Yeah, another legend is gone. A lot of people don't take that seriously. How does that feel to you about that whole situation of Biz Markie dying? Rhonda? Okay, Rhonda may be having some technical difficulties. We'll get back to her, but let me just.
Sorry.
So let me go.
Somehow I.
Okay, so let me just continue. And
No, I'm here. Okay. As far as Biz Markie, yeah, you know, he was a good person, you know. Actually, he's from Mount Vernon, right?
Mount Vernon.
Right. Biz Markie.
Was Biz Markie born in Mount? Let me
Biz Markie, if I'm not mistaken, right?
let me pull it up, because if I'm not mistaken, because I remember seeing him a lot, and I would almost say
Biz Markie, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, and you know what? That is interesting, because you just let me just read this here, because maybe this will give us a kind of an insight of who he is. Okay, so Markie was born in Manhattan, in the neighborhood of Harlem. He was raised on Long Island. Markie began his career in New York City nightclubs and later gained regional recognition by performing at colleges in Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania. Regarding the origins of his stage name, the rapper said, Biz comes from the hip hop tape I heard. It was 77 or 78 from the L Brothers. Grand Wizard Theodore was a DJ, and rappers were Kevy Kev, Master Rob, and Busy B Star Ski. I loved Busy B. Busy B just stuck with me. My name used to be Busy B Markie, and after a while, I put the Biz with the Markie. My nickname in my neighborhood was Marquis. So yeah, so yeah, he's from Manhattan. Yeah, so he's definitely from Manhattan. So he did a lot of stuff. He did Just a Friend. That's on some of his songs. Um, you know,
Okay.
Need a Haircut in August 27, 1991.
Okay.
Um, he was signed to, I think, Warner Brothers Records. Um, he also made a lot of appearances on In Color, MTV, Meteor Man. Um, he has a long history. So let me just go back so I can actually see you. See you. Okay. Hey, how you doing? Yeah. So this is just another legend going down. I mean, first it was DMX. Not first, but it was DMX. And these are the people that I know. Fred the Godson. That really hurt me a lot.
Mm.
That really hurt me a lot when Fred died. That was really, I want to send my condolences out to the families of Fred the Godson. I also want to send my condolences out to DMX's family, um, and Biz Markie and Black Rob. Send all of my condolences out to those people who died too soon. What do you think about this? Our history dying. How's that make you feel?
Mm. You
Our history
know,
is dying.
yeah,
Maybe that should have been the.
it is, but it's dying, but it's actually becoming a lot. You know, it's not really dying. Because keep them at heart. We keep them alive. We could keep them alive. You know, I wouldn't say they're dying. Um,
We keep them
I-
alive.
right. I think that we need to put more effort into keeping them up, and not let them die.
Right, right, right. In other words, don't let their name go in vain.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I know that's definitely a great point because we can't do that at all. That would definitely be a disservice to anybody that is trying to you know um to get involved. You know um so yeah, I mean,
Mm.
definitely an interesting situation, but I got thrown off a little bit, and I wanted to. I think I have somebody else that may have another idea or a feeling of this tragedy with Biz Markie, or tragedy, you know, with
Yeah.
our people, when it comes down to uh, our struggles.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Right.
You know? Yeah, definitely it's good to hear from the horse's mouth. Um, I'm going to try to do something here. So, what do you think about it? I mean, what do you think? I
I
mean,
really can't elaborate more than I did, but like I said, we just need to bring them more to the streets. Like, keep them alive. You know, keep bringing their music out. because that music was, just like, Crotona Park, different things like that, bringing the music back.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Crotona Park, but I haven't gotten into that yet. That's the last thing I want to talk about. But yeah,
things like that, just old school music, just bring you're listening to it. And that's how you bring it back. You keep them alive. Just keep playing their music.
yeah, no, that's a fact. That's definitely
I
a
don't
fact.
have a problem with that. I'm old school all the way.
Yeah, you said you old school all the way, right?
All the way. Yes, I am.
Yes, yes. Don't mind me. I'm trying to pull in some people that but seems like I'm having a little bit of difficulty. So I got one that I tried to pull in. But yeah, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on, and I, like I said, I just feel like we definitely have to give homage to the OGs, the old rappers back in the days. Give them the love right now. Like I seen on Drink Champs that they had Scarface. Yeah, they had an interview with Scarface, but they also gave him his flowers. They gave him his flowers, and I'm telling you, it was so crazy. And I'm sitting there, it's like I see the tears coming out of his eyes, because all these people are calling up, LL's calling up, this person's calling up, um, Rick Ross, and all of these people are calling him up and giving him his flowers while he's here. While he's here,
Yeah.
and I think that's important because you know you don't want somebody to know not to know that you love them and care for them.
Right.
That's
And
why.
again, can I ask you again, the site, so I can tell the people. Okay, people are trying the
Okay,
site.
say again. You wonder what?
The site that we're on.
Okay, I can send you the link. That
Yeah.
same link that I send you, you can send it to anybody else, and they can be able to get on. Just send that link and share it to somebody else. Take your time. It's not a problem.
I know.
Listen, this technology is not easy to figure
I
out. I
know.
mean,
For so many.
yeah, you have to really take your time and actually, really just take that free time and really focus on it.
Right. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But did you get the link?
Yeah. I think.
Was you able to send it?
Yeah. I think I'm sending it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Is that your daughters?
Yes.
Yeah. Bring them on. Give them a call. Tell them to come on the show right now.
Yeah. I'm trying.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
one thing. Like I said, it's always a good thing. Like I said, we have to show love and give love to people, while they're around. You know, that's why when I give you that love, when I introduce you, it's because I think that is important is to say it now because who knows what tomorrow's gonna bring us.
Yes.
People that are 50 and over seem to be dying faster than someone that is 80, 90 years old. So yeah. And once again, everybody, let me tell you again, remind you about YouTube. We're going to need your help. We're going to need your support. We're going to need you to like and subscribe. Go to Like It Really Is, right? Press subscribe, right? So you can get the updates of what's going on. We need your support. ring that bell that's on that little bell that's over there. So when we come on, we can actually, you can actually, you know, get notifications, when we're on, you know. Yeah, so yeah, this is real deep, what I'm saying? This death right here. I mean, it hits home, to me. It just shows me that, we have a long way to go, as far as, certain things. And the other thing is the education part, the educating ourselves about diabetes. Okay, diabetes is a killer. Okay, and I don't know why it's attacking our communities more, but it's here, and we have to, it's the reality, and we have to figure it out. Now, how do we figure it out? Okay, all right. So it's I know it's hard for everybody to eat the right thing. You know, everybody wants candy. I know you want candy. You like candy, Rhonda?
I love it.
What's your favorite candy?
My favorite candy is Twix.
All
Twix.
right. I think that's more 2021. Go all the way back to 1970. What was your favorite candy?
Jawbreaker. Jawbreakers.
Oh, you used to like Jawbreakers.
Yes, the Jawbreakers.
Yeah, I remember those.
Go on and on with them. Yes, the multicolors and all day.
Mhm. You walking around with a big giant ball in your mouth, right?
Yes.
I guess it was a thing. And you remember the red pistachios?
Yes. Yes, and the little fishes. Yes.
Yeah, the little Swedish fish.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably why all of us got diabetes. Majority of people got diabetes now because we used to tear up that candy like it wasn't nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And they still got in Manhattan. They still got those little penny shops. You gotta find them.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
still got them little penny.
No, I know there's the shops, and they're here, and I've seen them. I've seen the stuff. It's crazy. So listen, the one thing that I wanted to also, like I said again, to you guys that are, listening in the background, I just want to encourage you to come in, be a part of the family, be a part of our little group, and there's benefits in the things that we do. I will stay in communication with you guys. We will be doing certain activities. If you live in the New York area, New York, New Jersey area, and you're an inspiring actor or singer, or you have music that you want to put out, and you need a platform, you know, come on to this line here, and we will put you on blast. Okay, we will put you on blast. We will put you out there, and we will make it happen for you guys. So, um, you know, again, we can't do it without you. We can't do it without your support. You know, so we're just looking, to get you involved, in what we're doing. So again, reach out to us. Go to our Facebook page, like it really is on our Facebook page too as well, and you can join the group. You know, and just be a part of what we're doing. You know, um, and again, if you have talent, um, if you have talent, you definitely showcase your talent here, and we definitely make that work for you. Rhonda, you ready for us now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get Rhonda back up here on the spot here. Here she goes. There she goes. All right. Yeah. So let me just try something else here. Okay. So Rhonda,
Yes.
let's stay focused on what we talking about because I need your help on something.
Okay.
Right. This weekend we went to the hip hop reunion in Crotona Park, and it was very, very interesting to see a lot of the old school people in that park, in that place. What did you feel about that?
Oh, yes, I loved it. Um, it was a lot of people out there inspiring. Yeah, you got to see a lot of people that you didn't see in a long time. It was just a very good environment. It was very nice. I had a good
Yeah.
time.
No, it was definitely. I mean, it was definitely correct. Um, as far as it being like a really nice energy. I'm gonna stop the cam for a second so I can fix that crack in my thing there. But you're gonna hear me talking. Um, yeah. So I mean, it was definitely good to see people out and about. I noticed that a lot of people were a lot age. Everybody was getting older, and people were really have. You still there?
Yes, I am.
Uh-oh. Where's that coming from?
Uh, sorry.
Oh, that came from you. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. I was.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a minute here, and I'm going to show. I don't know if it's going to work, and I don't know if we're going to get a strike, but I'm going to show this. Matter of fact, I'm not going to do too much because see, if I do too much, it might not. This whole post might not even go up. So I'm going to show everybody out there in the world and some people that we ran into while we were out there, out and about, and they were these young ladies that had just got finished seeing, the whole show and just out there dancing. People were really enjoying themselves out there. I mean, the music was on point. Would you say that?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
and it's good to see that people are keeping that hip hop alive. Let's go to the videotape and let's see.
All right, go ahead. Come on now. Hey, everyone. We had a great time at Crotona Park. Yes, come out next week, next Thursday. You have a great time.
Did you recognize?
Is that old school hip hop? Yes. Is that real music?
Did y'all recognize any of the rappers from back in the day?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, name a couple that you've seen.
Grandmaster Cass, of course.
Right. Any more? Come on now.
It was so many.
There were so many. Did you notice that like a lot of them changed, their faces changed as they got older?
For me, a little.
A little, right?
Yeah. I get a little older.
Did you see Debbie D out there? Debbie D, she was out there, the light-skinned girl with the rusty hair. Yeah. So you enjoyed yourself, right?
Amazing time. I'm not ready to go home, but it's over, so we gotta go home. We're not ready. And of course, I'm rocking my Wild Style shirt.
All right now. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We'll have you on the Wendy Williams show.
Yeah, that was very interesting. Yeah, so there were people out there that really loved what was going on, and it was just amazing to see all the people in their just feeling good and doing what they do. I'm gonna try to show something else, but I might have to keep the volume down. And see, that's the whole thing. I don't want to get no strike, but we're gonna see what we're gonna do. Let's see what this one is. Don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna try it. Okay, no, not that one. Sorry about that, people. We're gonna get to it. I'm just having a little technical thing. I want to make sure. Yeah. So all right, here we go. Here we go. So I'm gonna show you this one. Hopefully we can survive with this one. And you know. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it was out there.
It was out there. And you know it's in a different area now, so I didn't see a lot of b-boys out there. That was one of the things. Usually I see a lot of b-boys, you know, a lot of people, you know, doing things, but I really didn't see too many b-boys out there, you know. And again, you know, there's just a lot of things going on, you know, when it comes down to the you know, the whole movement. um you know, there was some situations that went on, like with the Zulu Nation and stuff like that.
The pandemic is not over.
You know, and the Zulu Nation situation. So that caused a lot of you know, negativity as far as you know, people wanting to, you know, be a part of certain things. You know, that whole Bambaataa situation, which is a whole nother story in itself. You know, I know you heard about that, right? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. You heard about that Bambaataa situation, right?
Yeah, but as I was saying, you know, that had really not much to do with the movement. An individual is responsible for their own actions, and that's what happened. And the movement is still going on, just without the one individual.
Yeah, it just, you know, being that I used to hang out with Zulu,
Uh,
and I
it,
used to be a part of the Zulu Nation. You know, I used to be hold on. I used to be a part of many different organizations like the Zulu Nation, the Savage Nomads, you know, the Black Spades, you know, but I've always kept my distance, but I've always been a supporter of what they do, and they've always supported me. Now, you know, so yeah, so what it is that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hopefully um with those movements,
I,
huh?
right. I can probably get in contact with the right people that still within the movement, and it's very strong. Nothing has lacked from it. It's just one individual had nothing to do with anything, as you have with like the priest in areas. One individual does not represent the all, you know. Um it's just, you know, you just gotta know your support groups. You got to go out there and hear, you know, what's going on. You got to be about. So if you're about, trust me, they're still in effect. Nothing has changed. Believe that one with the Zulu.
Yeah.
That I know. Yes.
Yeah.
On personal experience. Nah, nothing's changed. No, they still are doing the same things they do. They represent the same things. They're still funding the same projects, and nothing has changed. Nothing. Nothing
Yeah.
at all.
Well, you know, that's definitely like, you know, I know Zulu Nation is doing security now. They're doing a lot of security, and you know, they're armed. A lot of them are armed. I've been to a couple of Zulu reunions and just noticed that everybody is armed.
Well, whereas though
You know,
with anything,
just, you know,
nowadays everybody's armed.
yeah. Well, I mean, everybody's armed, but you know, you have people, they're legally armed. You know,
Right.
so
And that's the way people are going now. I said that, you know, and we need to touch on that with something else, because I said that, you know, nowadays it's like as I'm noticing, the New York State is becoming like the South, you know, bear arms. You know, you see them more in the South. It's coming up. It's coming up north now, more or less. Everybody's bearing arms.
yeah.
And organizations and stores. I mean, it's just things that are going on now. Yeah.
Well, you know, see, the whole thing about that, right, is this, like, you know, if you have a gun in your possession, whether you are, you know, keeping it for a certain reason, you know, it's always a possibility that you're going to use that.
And that is the problem.
You know, yeah.
And
so
that is a thing that yes, right. Another, yes, right. Because like they say, if you don't have it on you, how can you use it? And to the one, you know, with the mental health and things that's going on, you know, things get out of hand, and, you know, within the government,
yeah.
Just watch the news. Look at what's going on in the news. It has nothing to do actually with the movements, and organizations. It's within people private homes now. People are walking around with them on them, as long as you don't have a clip in them. I mean, this is just the life, the society that we're moving into now.
Yeah.
And you are so right. Oh, you just touched on something. Yeah. We are taking on a whole new,
Yeah. So again, just wanted to talk a little more about, you know, that the function that they had. You know, it was a nice function. You know, again, you know, people were out there. You know, doing what
now.
You know, cooking out. I ran into Melly Mel's daughter, and you know, we were talking about some things and some projects and stuff like that. I'm still waiting for her to reach back out to me. You know, she is, I think she's got like a line of something going on. I don't know what she's got going on, but, you know, we supposed to speak on it. Ran into a lot of different people. But again, you know, I also noticed that, you know, age, that's the whole thing. You know, a lot of people have aged through the years, and some have aged very bad, and some are, you know, keeping themselves up, you know. And when I look at them and I see certain things, it reminds me of the era of hip hop and how it was when it first started, and how, you know, a lot of people was on drugs, And that's one of the things. Like I'm a very open individual, and I have a lot of love. Like I don't care, if you've been through something, or you're still going through something. you know I have that love inside because I'm supportive, and I feel like this: if I can help one person, to try to to make a difference in their life, then it makes a lot of sense to me. So I don't never look down on someone that's getting high. Now, don't get me wrong. Um, I do have my reservations, especially when they come up to me and ask me for money, and I know what they need to be using it for. Um, because they haven't gotten out of the life yet, and they're
That
still doing
lifestyle.
the same thing. That pisses me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because see, and then it's coming from me. It's like I used to be an addict, okay, and I feel like I made it through. You can at least try to make it through.
Yeah.
But everybody is not like me,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, and a lot of people don't have, you know, some people have been through. They've caught AIDS, and they've caught different diseases while when they were in their addiction,
Yeah.
and that right there, they had to keep getting high in order to try to forget that they are infected. They did not want to be sober because they had to deal with the reality of what comes after it. Now you have a disease, and so I've always been an advocate for the underdog, you know, um, you know, and these people that have these diseases, they're people too,
Yes.
and they deserve love too.
Yes.
Sometimes I don't know if you've ever known anybody that was infected with something, but you fell in love with them,
Yes.
and you love them so much that you would even infect yourself. I mean, which is stupid, but you love them so much that
That
you would.
you take the risk and you without you're right.
Yeah,
It's
and so there are people out there that's like that. I think it's important that you tell a person ahead of time so at least they can make a decision, whether they want to, go forward.
go down that line or not. You're right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, and then you can go from there. But
Right.
again, like I said, I'm not going to treat anybody, um, you know, different, show them lack of love because they doing this or they doing that. They homeless, they ain't got no place to stay. Nah, I'm
Nah,
because
love.
I'm gonna keep giving it back, and I'm gonna pay it forward. I'm gonna keep giving it back because I want to keep going forward with blessings. You know what I mean? So definitely true about that. We're gonna end this a little bit, and let me see. It's yeah, we running pretty much on the schedule. Probably like a few more minutes, but other than that, how has your weekend been, Rhonda? How was your weekend? Did you?
It
Yeah.
was wonderful. I had a wonderful weekend. It actually was a wonderful weekend. You know, I went out and spent time with my grandkids. I had them for the weekend. I just, the weather's been nice, so I can't complain. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
No.
enjoy. I want to try to get to the beach. That's the only thing I haven't done yet. The beach. I want
Yeah.
to actually try to get out there. Yeah.
To the beach, huh?
Yes, I want to try to get to it.
Yeah, I would like to go to the beach, but the only kind of bathing suit I have is something from 1970 something. I only got a pair of speedos, and I don't
And you
know.
know what? You might bring it back in style the way that things
Yeah.
are going.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's bringing it back in style. Yeah.
Listen, it happens. That's how trends start. That's how trends start. That's how trends start. Like even my hairdo, like I walk down the street, right? Now this is me. I do what I do, right? And then I'm like, people are like, wow, yeah, it's nice. To me, I'm like, yeah, I just did something, whatever. And I just go old school and they like, wow, yeah, nice. You know, sometimes you just got to do it. Just, whatever you feel, just boom, do it. Don't even question it, just do it.
Yeah.
You never know.
Well, I think that's pretty funny. And I thank you for your support and love and support. But I don't know if everybody really knows what Speedos look like. And
I know what Speedo is.
That's a lot of material.
And they're right, but well,
that's a lot of material hanging out in the front.
Right, and people. Nowadays,
and then when you walk in the pool and you got all this.
Well, you know what? They got stores. We'll talk about it. We'll go shop. We'll stop by somewhere.
Yeah. I mean,
Get the little trunks and keep it going.
Yeah. We don't.
Trunks and keep it going.
Keep it simple, right?
Right. Keep it simple. No Speedo. You keep trunks and keep it going.
Yeah.
Actually, be faster for the day.
Yes, yeah. Because that's too much work that you're showing. That's too much junk that you're showing in your trunk. And
you don't need to.
Yeah, no. I think if I had a girlfriend and I was actually running up and down the beach, and just
you won't have that girlfriend that long, but you won't have her for that long, right?
Yeah. Because girls don't play that mess. They're very protective over their stuff. Is that true?
Basically.
When another woman comes around.
So are men, right?
Well, I'm protective.
No. Would you want a woman? Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
Mama Ronda. Don't get Mama Ronda. Mama Ronda. Keep it picture. Okay. Walking down the street, right? You want somebody to be up on what you want on?
Somebody.
Because then you gonna get offended. Come on, my man. Come on.
Let's go back.
And when somebody say something, then you gonna
wait a minute. I missed what you said. You said
right.
Start all over again.
If you're walking down the street with your woman, right? And then somebody come out their face with something not nice, what's gonna happen? Why you disrespect my woman? Right? That's the first thing gonna happen, right?
Well, what's he gonna say? What would he say?
If you have your woman and she just free balling out there, right?
She's free. Be more specific. Just be a little more specific.
Like you said with a Speedo.
And take your time.
You said with a Speedo.
Right.
Like you said with a Speedo, right?
Right.
Now, if you walk out the door with your woman, right? And she has less clothes than the norm. Right. And the next man decides that he wants to make a comment. Right. Maybe you go in the store and she's outside. What's going to happen?
Well, let me say this, right? There's some men that are, some men are very weird and some men are very protective. Like if the woman walks out, if I see my woman dressing nasty when she's in the house, right? And I see things in the crack and I see things that, I see a lot of stuff exposed. I would say in the house, I'd say, listen, isn't that a little bit too much meat that we're displaying and we're not even at the store, at the butcher? I would probably make a joke out of it, but, I would say something. So
But would you want somebody on your arm down the street, right? Displaying her. And not expect any man to say anything?
Well,
think about that. Just think about what you're saying.
No, this is really simple. I mean,
it's not.
When I was younger,
it will cause a problem because.
Let me explain. Let me explain. So, when I was younger, right, I had a problem with emotions, right? And I was always hitting that emotion button. And you look at my girl, I'm going off. You looking
Okay.
at, you say something to my girl, I'm going off. You know, nowadays, right? You know, I don't look at it like that, right? But there is a certain amount of disrespect that can cause a problem. But you know, let's say hypothetically you, all right? Let's say you for an example. Say if when we was in the park, right? And you were wearing maybe your tight, you know, uh, running suit, leggings tight, you know, and everything is out for display. I would pull you to the side and I'd say, listen, Rhonda, I've been knowing you for a little while. You know, we've been, you know, together, and right now I'm looking at you, and you definitely have a lot of air tunnels going through your body, and I'm wondering, you know, I'm a cornball, so you gotta slide that in there, because like I don't, I'm kind of corny with it, you know, but you know, I just, you know, I try to make sure that, you know, my lady understands that I appreciate her body, you know, whether it's big, voluptuous, or slim, and you know, slim. You know, I appreciate what she brings to the table, because, you know, a lot of men don't appreciate what women bring to the table. Um, you know, a lot
No,
of
I
people.
get what you're saying. Some people are listen.
A lot of people like big, giant bodies. You know that, you know, you got to lift up here and you got to lift here, and you know you got to do all these things, all these amazing things.
Okay, more.
You got a neck cramp, an arm cramp. You know, all these problems. You know going on. You
How
know,
much time we got left?
oh, we got about 5 more minutes. But anyway, I don't want to go too deep into that one. I just want to say that, uh, that we have to show more love to each other in this world today. Oh, you getting a kick out of that one, huh? You're a mess. So,
You know me, I'm gonna at the end of the day, I've gotta have a laugh. That's Mama Rhonda. Mama Rhonda got to have a laugh.
The point of the matter is that if I I have to love myself first, right? And when you love yourself and you have confidence in yourself, then you don't got to worry about what she's got on. Let her be her. You know what I'm saying? If she goes out, if she wears something that's totally nasty,
she's comfortable,
and she goes, yeah. If you're comfortable walking down the street and having guys look at you as a piece of meat, looking at the I see these stretch pants that go all the way in to the butt. Okay, they don't just open up in the front. They go into the butt and come back out.
Okay.
Now if you want to wear that, and you want to be out there wearing those tight things, that's and then you take off your underwears and you have very smelly underwears, and that's on you. But I do think it's a little too much. I do think that, what I'm saying, there's certain things that you leave for imagination.
Exactly. And that's just basically the kicker. In all fair game, no matter what, all fair game.
No, I know it's a short, your words, you really can't put anything to that. So let me just ask you this real serious question. Do you have a pair of pants like that?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. You took a minute to think about that. So
no, there's no question with it. No. No. Okay. I'm just not gonna do it. No.
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 No, I get it. No, I get it. I mean, after hearing what men feel about women that wear pants like that, I would say no too, because that's kind of disgusting to have that kind of thing going on. But
right. But yeah. Then sometimes I don't think some people Essentially, it's just how their body forms and how it fits on them.
How their body forms?
And how it fits on them. Right.
No, but I don't know if that's the case.
I don't know. You have some people that I don't know. Well, you know what? I don't know.
Anyway, we'll leave that alone. So listen, we had a couple of comments.
Each one.
There you go. So let's recap what we talked about today. We talked about Biz Markie. Rest in peace, Biz Markie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
and we're gonna keep you alive.
Yeah, definitely.
Sing your music.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely keep pumping you. You know, we love you and we appreciate you. To my man DMX, you know I didn't come out and say nothing before, rest in peace to my brother. I do have some footage of me going to his funeral. He was a very good friend of mine, and we kind of drifted apart, and I was on my way to get back to him, and it took too long, and by the time I turned around, he passed away. So special love and shout outs to his family, and everybody. And so definitely want to give a shout out to, all of the Savere members out there that's watching, all of my friends that are watching, all of the family that's watching. I want to give a shout out to you guys, and hopefully next week, Monday, 12 p.m. we're going to be on this doing it just like this again. I want to see more people in the chats. I want to see more people talking and conversating. So that shows me, it inspires me to make more content. You won't be disappointed when you tune into Like It Really Is.
Ask for what you want. Yes.
You will not be disappointed, because I'm going to be here. We might have some more guests, and we're going to have Mama Rhonda sitting on the side, dropping down her rendition
all the time.
That's it. So everybody's got to have a superhero in the crew, and so my superhero is Mama Rhonda, and she can't do no wrong, and I love her just as much. She's I gotta get this camera set up, and get on this professional level so we can get it all worked out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, definitely. And one thing about, that's it. And there is a lot about Rhonda that you don't know. Rhonda is, her story is amazing. Her story is amazing. The love that her kids got for her is amazing. And her journey is amazing. And that's why she's here today. And she cannot do no wrong because, she is definitely a superhero. She's turning around. She's like, who's he talking about? Sure you talking about me? Yeah. Now I'm talking about you. Definitely a superhero. And we just want to just say that we love you and thank you for being a part of what we're doing here. And so listen, that's about it. We hit the 2-hour mark. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to just say thank you, everybody, for being a part of what we're doing. And tune in next time. Remember, go to Like It Really Is on Facebook, right? Go to Like It Really Is, the group on Facebook, right? Go to YouTube to Like It Really Is and subscribe. And on Facebook, like, and all of that stuff is needed. So if you can do that for me, I'll love you to death. Rhonda, listen, love, kisses. You know what I'm saying? We in the house, we up in here. I just want to say I love you. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Tuning into our show. And remember, if you're out there, show some love to somebody. Yes, and be strong. And remember, we're going to always keep it like it is, like it really is. Got me? And remember, until next time, my name is Maurice Thompson. I'm your host. That's Mama Rhonda down there. And, you know, we in the house. Just want to say, everybody, love is love. You know what I'm saying? Keep the strength, keep the power, and keep on checking us out. We're going to be back again, rocking the house. What you guys say, Rhonda?
See you next time. Same back channel.
That's it. Hey, love is love, y'all. Remember, tune in and be a part of our program. Be a part of what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? All my friends, I need you to support me. I need you right now. I need the old, I need thee. Yeah, we're going to have some entertainment in here, and we're going to do a lot of things. So remember, check us out. All right, yo, one love. Hey, Rhonda. Love you, baby.
Love you too.